Alright, so for all of us, have you guys ever made plans to go out somewhere, for example, to go visit a relative, and you know you're gonna go do it, and you're just waiting, you're so anxious to go already. So today's a day and tomorrow you're shipping out to go visit them. And it just seems like forever, like you wanna leave already, but you can't leave yet. And you have this whole 24-hour period in between, and you just can't leave yet. So the quote I got is, "The future is like the present, only longer," by Quisenberry. So it's pretty much, you don't know how long the future will be. You don't know when you'll get to that point when you go visit, when you go where you're gonna leave to visit. You just know you'll get there, but you don't know when. And a quote I remember, well, for those who went, for those who went to high school, do you guys remember doing the 15-minute thing? You know, every 15 minutes someone dies in like an alcohol accident. You know, don't drink and drive. Well, I remember this lady went up there and she showed her speech. She said her speech, and she said a little quote, "The past is history, the future is mystery, but today is the present, so treat it uniquely, you know. So enjoy your present." And this quote, like, really, you know, opened my eyes, because, you know, I was like, man, you know, yeah, the past is history, you can't change that. Tomorrow's a mystery, you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. But today's the present, and you do have a say on that. You have a say if you go to class, you don't go to class, you do your homework or you don't do your homework. You know, you have a say. Another example is, you know, when you're working and all you think about is the time, you're looking at the clock, like, I'm looking at the clock, how much longer do I have to be up here? The more I think about it, the longer it feels. Like a second just passed by, another second, I'm just like, you know, I wanna go sit down already. And the more I think about it, the longer it feels. Like, I didn't look at him for like 2 seconds and 2 minutes passed by, right? I'm like, damn, you know, 2 minutes and just talking about seconds. And so I didn't know when that was gonna come. I knew it was in the future. Every 2 minutes is in the future. And the present, you feel it, it's like, you feel like right now it's taking forever. But if you don't think about it, it goes faster, time goes by faster. And so just remember, you know, the past is history, you can't change that. Tomorrow's a mystery, you don't have any say on it. And today's the present, and you do have a say on that. You could change it, you could do whatever you want with it, because it's yours, and it's yours uniquely. It's like a Christmas present. You're not gonna go share it with your friend unless you like your friend, and, you know, you're gonna be friends. Or it's not like when your parents buy you a car and you go share it, you go let someone else use it. I remember when I got my car, I was like, I wasn't gonna go drive it early, but I remember waking up at 5 a.m. and going to the garage and just sitting there, you know, adjusting my mirrors, you know, like, alright, tomorrow I'm gonna drive it. I didn't drive it for like 2 more days because my parents were still, you know, driving it supposedly. And the more I thought about driving my car, the longer it felt. And I didn't really enjoy having it until afterwards, after, you know, you just don't really care anymore. That's it.
Well, the visualization of visiting and anticipating a visit at the beginning was, I think, a little confusing. You're asking us to kind of understand something and you're not giving us a complete enough description of it. I ultimately think I figured out what you're doing. It's about anticipation, and that's okay. The tie-in to the quote was fine also. I think that the quote that you ultimately came up with from the woman that gave the presentation at the every 15 minutes experience is the thing that probably ought to be the structure of your speech. You know, the past is history, the future a mystery, and the present, that's your gift for the day, to live that kind of thing. So that seems to me like it would have been a natural way to organize your speech. You know, you can't change things in the past. Time changes the way we see things, and our perspective is going to be different about that kind of stuff. I remember when I was a kid waiting to go on a trip, how long I anticipated for, that sort of thing. That might have been a good place to put the car story also. The car story feels like a tack on at the end. It's like you had a good ending, you had a pretty good summary, you came back to that quote, then you threw the car story in, and even though it gave you a little bit more content, it makes the end really graceless, because you basically come back with that, and I guess that's it, sort of exit, which makes it feel less like you were in charge and more like you're just reacting to what's going on. The idea behind the speech is that you're giving us an impression of who you are, what you think, how you feel about something, and you want to give us a very firm image of yourself, one that's in control, and these are my thoughts. And when you end that weekly, it just feels less like you're accomplishing that goal. So you want to be careful about that. I like the details that you had on the examples that you came up with. The every 15 minutes thing was pretty good. The anticipating some of the other things, I thought that they worked pretty well. So you were doing okay there. Presentation issues, I think you need a little bit more variety in your voice. You need a little bit more inflection. You've got kind of a quiet, natural voice anyway, so you kind of have to pump it up a little bit more when you're talking to a bigger group. Add a little bit of energy. You don't have to clown it up. I'm not saying that you want to exaggerate things, but you're speaking in a different context, so you have to add a little bit of personality to what you're doing. It's paced pretty well. You do have the little pieces of paper in your hand. I'd try and get those out of your hand so they're not a distraction. Otherwise, you've got good indicators. You look relatively animated. I didn't take points away for the hat, but I wanted to. And like I said, at the end of the speech, I think that I think you thought of some idea that you threw in at the end. And like I said, everybody, if you start with a plan, you're going to be better off. And I think a lot of people are, they're going from example to example instead of creating a plan at the beginning and following that plan. You can probably plug, if you think of an example as you're going along, you can plug it into one of the sections that you've set up. But if you're just, randomly thinking of ideas, which I know happens, I mean, that's how people get started doing these things. I think it's a little bit more obvious that you're just, stream of consciousness, what's happening here. All right, thank you.